Syria is the most significant case for the transitions that are still underway. And there we see the same dynamics as in Bahrain, only worse, only more violent, only more dangerous. Again, a regime which is exploiting the very communitarian, sectarian tensions that it claims to be combating. A regime that is doing everything, in fact, to bring to life every dynamic it says it fears. More Islamization of the opposition, more sectarianism in the country, more militarization of the opposition, and more foreign involvement in the conflict. Everything the regime said it was set out to prevent a year ago, it has, by its own actions, in many cases wittingly, done everything it could to promote. And today what we have is a regime that is speaking like a state, as if there actually was a Syrian state that represents the Syrian people, but is acting increasingly like a militia, a family-employed armed groups that are fighting for the sake of a family-based regime, using the most brutal forms of violence, but also because it's managed to promote this narrative of a sectarian conflict, and because the opposition is becoming, inevitably, I would say, more militarized and more sectarian and more Islamist. It is stoking the fears of Alawites and other minority groups, and that has formed a further line of defense for the regime. At this stage, my own sad prediction is, unless something unexpected happens, is that Syria is going to descend more and more into a deepening sectarian war, where it almost won't matter anymore if Bashar is in power or not. And it won't matter so much anymore what Kofi Annan is doing, and whether you have this conference next week to try to resolve it diplomatically, because at some point, if this becomes truly sectarian war, with militias on both sides, with atrocities on both sides, and the Syrian people have been fortunate, and really immense credit goes at this point to civil society, which has refrained from the most atrocious forms of retribution. There's been, for the majority sectarian killings have been Alawite on Sunni. There have been some Sunni on Alawite, but it has been remarkably small and remarkably restrained. That, I would predict, will change. That's the pattern of civil wars. People can't stay forever and passively watch as their brethren are being killed. And once that retribution begins, and once it becomes a free-for-all, it really won't matter if Russia puts pressure on Bashar al-Assad. It really won't matter if the international community increases its sanctions. It really won't matter whatever they do, because this will be a conflict that will have a life of its own, and that will only end when one of both of the parties has been exhausted, and we're very, very far from that.